Like when they say procrastination is really getting people out here in these streets, myself included, it isn't a joke. Everybody around you will be, in big armor. What's up guys, it's your girl Chrissy Kane. How you guys doing today? And welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here and this is the first time you see my face, then hi, thank you so much for tuning in. Please do subscribe and click the notification bell so you know that when more crazy content comes. If you're a previous subscriber, thank you so much for coming back, and hey, how you doing? Now today's video is kind of like a follow-up from my previous video, because in the last video I was talking about goals, mindset, and motivation. And by the way, if you haven't watched that video just yet, please do click out now and watch that video. In fact, I will give you some time. Main reason being that if you haven't watched the previous one, this video may not make as much sense. But basically, in the last video when I was talking about mindset, goals, and motivation, I was mentioning a lot of methods of how to break your target down into smaller bits, with the method of the how, what, and the why, what to focus on when you need to set it. But then I thought, wouldn't it not be a good idea to show you a physical example of how to put what I was talking about into practice, or into the actual planning stage? Which brings me on to what basically today's video is going to be about, which is the planning stage, and also debunking the idea of it's too late. Because I won't lie, when I was thinking of the idea of this video, and this is now relating to what the title of this video is, when I was thinking, how am I gonna make a planning video? Right now it's March, and I'm here thinking I'm really trying to plan for the year in March. Isn't it not too late? That also had me thinking, why is it we always think that sometimes if we want to start something, oh no, it's too late, I'll do it later, or I'll do it next time. When they say procrastination is really getting people out here in these streets, myself included, it isn't a joke. But today we're gonna try and slowly but surely debunk it. Now, for me, I figured that a nice way to plan would be, even though yes, to-do lists are nice and all, but I figured let me go with a mood board, because a mood board is a nice way to put pictures and make it pop, and have color and all that stuff, and kind of visually put out what you want to see for the year. And I'm gonna go get my mood board. What this reminds me of? This reminds me of sharing assembly in primary school. We did this work in class, but here's my board. And I'm gonna walk you through what I wrote on here and stuff. And this is very good for a lot of people who consider themselves as visual learners, like myself, or the other 65% on average who are. Yeah, bare people are visual learners out here. Something like this is great. And also the good thing about making a mood board, or just trying to sit down and plan, is that when you write out your goals, and this was, by the way, part of an article I read on Forbes. I'll cite the source on the screen, but he was talking about how that when you write it down, you're more likely to achieve it, because number one, by you writing it down, it's a method of, sorry to get a bit technical here, it's saving it and also having it engraved in your brain, because whenever you write it down, yes, you'll have okay, you have it in your head that yes, I need to do it, but then every single time you'll see it on paper or physically or on your phone, if you want to make it on your phone, the possibilities are endless. Then it stays in your brain, thus makes it more likely for your brain to remember it and retain it, hence / the encoding part, and also the storing bit. So yeah, so this is my mood board that I made for this year, and as you can see, there's a whole lot of color. Oh, you can't see. As you can see, there's a whole lot of color and stuff. You can't really see the writing part on the board, so I will talk you through what I wrote, but kind of to break it down, or what I did with, I basically took my own advice. And by the way, this thing, yeah, as much as I'm flaunting it around, it took me a real long time to do, because it reminded me I don't know how we used to do in primary school, how we used to just cut and stick and write and make all these big posters for homework it was easy. This took me a very long while, but hey, here it is. before I get too far in, I highly suggest, if you want to like make one along with this video, then, you know, grab your pens, grab your pencils, grab your notebook, grab your notepad, or, you know, some rough paper, or or if you want to do this on your phone, you know, have your phone on the radio. I don't know how you're gonna do it. If you're watching this video on your phone, then, you know, switch tabs. But yeah, yes, it's like everywhere, a lot of people say it, but when you write things down, it actually helps you to remember it more. So like, think about how many times you'll go to the shop and you'll be like, oh no, I'm just gonna remember it still, and then you get there and then you spend like £20 on everything, and then you go home and realize that you only went in there for juice and you forgot to buy juice. By you writing it down makes it more memorable for you. Obviously, you know, because it's a board, you can add pictures, you know, customize it looking very, very, you know, fine and dandy for you, as I did here for myself. You know, you can personalize it. So like in mine, I'm gonna talk for it because, you know, you won't be able to see the words, and I realize if I hold it up, you can't even see me. But yeah, so this is kind of like, to me, I made like a general one for the year, and I guess this is gonna be wow, I'm really here telling the internet what I'm planning to do this year. But yeah, this is kind of like a note for myself, so, you know, this time next year I'm gonna watch this video back and see what happens. Yeah, let me suggest, everyone, let's all do this year. Let's make a video this year, because you know, like how at the end of the year, how Snap Memories always does that thing where we'll go through all the months, be like, you had months of laughter, months of this, months of that, and then it showed all the months in quarantine. But, you know, we couldn't go anywhere. So to like roll off the previous methods I was talking about in my previous video with like the what and the how and the why, I decided to like use that to just basically come up with like the skeleton, or like how I was going to like make the board itself. So like, for example, yes, I did include like the main titles, like how I did say, like how, you know, some people just say fitness. Like for example, we have like Planet Fitness here, and like self-care here, and I put music, and, you know, education. You can't really see it, but it says education. So yes, those are like the main big what's, but underneath it I went into full detail of what exactly I wanted to do in these like certain topics or fields. So like, for example, I'm gonna read some of them out to you. So do you know what, this like whole board thing, or like reading it now, I could just imagine like in 1 year what's gonna happen. Like this is almost like a dear future self kind of thing. Like, you know, like how people would be like, oh, if you were to write a letter to your 30-year-old self or to your 16-year-old self, although 16-year-old self would be past, but to write to yourself. So I guess let's see if we're going, not even let's see, because, you know, we're gonna be positive. This is what we're gonna pattern this year. So for example, in music, my like really specific, like in detailed smaller what's, so like the smaller targets I'm trying to do. So like, for example, to like improve my channels and avenues, to improve like the places I'm gonna like post music eventually. Oh yeah, by the way, if you didn't know, I obviously do music, because one thing I've noticed is I'm a music student. Well, I like to do music, but every time I'm like, oh, I like to do music, people are like, okay, let's hear your stuff, and I'm just here like I don't have anything. I also need to work on that, for example, by like releasing some music, which I will hopefully do this year, and just work on other things to like help. So like, for example, my agility and like being able to do like complex runs and trills and like vocal stuff, and like, you know, find out my full range and like my voice, okay, not my voice, but like my vocal style, and then work on like the weak spots that I know, like I've been corrected like to do. Breath control when you're trying to perform these fast-paced songs, because you know, if we're trying to, you know, really be out here performing, we can't be, you know, running and out of breath. And then also I then wrote down next to them in pen why. So basically I what, how'd and why'd my whole board. So like, for example, yeah, like what I said for breath control, it looks weird because my hand is here but on the camera it looks different, but for example, for like where I said I'm going to work on my production, for example, for the styles I like, because I produce as well. So I forgot to mention, I also wrote down the how, like how I would go about doing it. So like, for example, working on production, I wrote like watch tutorials, technique, I would like take breath control, which kind of links into my fitness part, where I'm going to basically challenge myself to attempt to like skip and sing a whole song with like staying in breath, like consistent breath, consistent key, like, you know, because I remember in like our lectures, in like the first week, somebody said that was a very good method for like, you know, learning how to have stamina when you perform. And also I have my, you know, fitness targets as well. So I do want to be one of them people that finishes a fitness challenge, because I don't know, comment below if you're like this. You know the ones where you have a 30-day fitness challenge on like Insta, you see it and somebody will be like, yeah, let's do that. Like on Insta, they'll post like a good challenge and you'll get to like day 5. And then it's like a good bunch of months until you haven't finished it. So, but yeah. So if you just go down, obviously I personalized it to me. So I called it Planet Fitness because I just felt it was cute and catchy. I like having like goals in like music and fitness. I also need to like take out the time to think about how do I want to improve myself generally. Generally? Is it It's not genuinely. No, genuinely is the wrong word. Basically how I want to improve myself in general. So I put some other targets and like reflective points, because at the end of the day, yes, we can strive to do better in like different aspects. However, we also need to take time and like take care of ourselves, because this parallelogram has already been enough. It's been too much. Like some people walked in like, this is nothing. This is nothing.
Nothing. This is all nothing.
Now it's something. It's something. So I was like, you know what, yeah, with all the madness that's going on in the world, even if I'm gonna be inside, let me look at ways to improve myself still. And like I put stuff down such as, you know, trying to like unwork like habits. You know, comment below if you feel like, you know, any of these you might think, I kind of do that too. So like obviously to like find the right methods and to develop the right methods to like stop over analyzing stuff and to like nitpick like stuff like your own personal projects, to like invest in your skills and start to display them a bit more. Because I feel like, you know, the ones where you're just like, there's like so much, people have so many dimensions, and obviously some dimensions are, it's not like to force you to like, you know, go outside and basically bare yourself on the front line and, you know, expose your full self, but like to show more of the parts that you're more comfortable with. So I kind of like want to work on, you know, showing a bit more of the personality, whether it be through the music, through YouTube, or through like other stuff. Obviously I'm a Christian, so, you know, to see myself through the eyes of the Lord, to like, you know, I guess that's more down the self-love kind of route. And then also another big thing I put down, besides consistency, because you remember how I said in the last video, consistency is a big word.
Big word, consistency.
Nah, I can't lie, when it comes to the word consistency, even myself, I'm now starting to be triggered by my own videos, so that's how you know it's affecting. But I kind of want to like make sure that this year, you know the ones where you like have so many ideas in your head and you write them down, or you just like tell them to people and people are like, yeah, that's really, really good, you should actually go and do it. So I wrote it down as a target. You can't see that. I wrote it down as a target to actually take my ideas, plan them properly, because obviously, you know, you need a good plan, and to actually attempt to execute them, to like, you know, bring into fruit or fan into flame, like, you know, different ideas. And then also, because, you know, YouTube, I know, guys, I need to work on consistency. Every time people talk about consistency, I'm sat here like, but don't worry, guys, I know I'm going to work on it. I see the fault point and I'm going to accept and work on it. My smaller what's for YouTube, for example, and other social media platforms is, you know, being more consistent and to kind of like remember the first point where I started. And one of the reasons why, one of the clips that I couldn't find from my original video, if you've seen that video, comment down below, was to kind of like show people the personality behind the art, kind of like let people see the personality behind the music or behind the art or behind the YouTube video. And then to also stick, for YouTube I wrote to stick to a schedule. So guys, when somebody was like, if you announce it or like kind of like say that you're gonna do it, you're definitely gonna do it, because, you know, you kind of like told people, so now they expect it. And like, you know, you also kind of set yourself ready to keep in mind and to kind of build a habit that, okay, this time I'm gonna try and, you know, film and upload. So, because remember how I said about habits, you know, a good like routine develops into a habit. And one of the points I forgot to mention in the last video that somebody actually mentioned in the poll that I did on IG was that, you know, a good habit turns into a lifestyle. On YouTube, I told myself I'm gonna try and stick to posting fortnightly, so like every 2 weeks, because I said that I was gonna do that in the beginning, and that hasn't quite happened. So I will actually try minimum fortnightly And then also, like, you know, other small whats I put down for YouTube and how, I guess. Oh, I did put down how. See? But I also put down, you know, like, try, like, small targets. Like, for example, get to 100 subs. That was a small target by the first year of YouTube. So, obviously, I only just started YouTube just last year. I know it's mad. But, yeah, hopefully by my first year on YouTube, I'll have 100 subs. If not more, you know. Love will claim double. Yeah, to bigger targets would be to, like, you know, really establish the name or my name on YouTube. I'm not like trying to say like I'm gonna wake up with 1 million followers, like obviously gradually, but like, you know, rebrand where I need to, change some things around, because you know what, yeah, nothing wrong with a rebrand, you know, because think about how many times all these companies that we use, all these businesses like Apple or like the banks or McDonald's or these other big Coca-Cola, Evian, think about how many times, or even the post office, think about how many times a brand has come up with a new logo or like rebranded itself. You know, there's nothing wrong with a good rebrand, hence the reason why. And I kind of wrote a note to remind myself that I guess this year's a year of a rebrand, because, oh, you can't see, but on the top it says 2021 this year equals CK 2.0. So kind of like all them, you know, software updates is like a new update for myself. So that would mainly fall under how to do the what and the how. So like I did write down small methods underneath of like how I'm gonna do it, like how I'm gonna work on it. So for example, in fitness, when I said I want to achieve, like, hopefully by the end of the year to be able to do at least minimum 20k steps every day, obviously I did write down on the side, this week 10k, this week 15k, this week. Do you get it? So a tip would be, when you write down what you want to do, obviously think of the topic at large. So you know, like how people be like when banging out fitness for the year, yes, those are big topics. Break it down into smaller, what specifically do you want to do in those big topics. So like if it's for fitness, you know, complete a skipping challenge. If it's for music, in my case, or if you're a musician or producer out there, release some couple bops this year, release some tunes this year, release some music, or work on like skills and techniques to help you really upgrade your skills and get better in the field that you want to do. Be my tip number 1. Now tip number 2 would be, I like to keep it on the board, was like I put a little section for my why, because remember how I said the how and the what? Yeah, and now here's the why. Also, to kind of help the why, I've also added another section, two sections. I'm going to go into detail now. So I have a section here called why am I doing this, which you can't see, but it's right here. Also, wow, this looks so colorful. And then another section where I'm going to be talking about, like, you know, if I ever need like a little pick-me-up or like motivation. So the why I'm doing this, obviously this would be the main reason why, like, I started all these little missions on the board. And this would, to me, would be like something that if I ever get stuck or if I ever feel down, I would read this section and it will give me like a little boost or a little like kickstart to remind me why I'm starting it. So like, think this would be like when you have that little side panel thing. I don't know what it's called, but you know, like when you get a matchbox and it has a little thing where you go and then, you know, the match starts. This would be the little to ignite the why section that I've created for myself. Even though there's whys all over the page, but I put another section just dedicated to that. But this why section will be the little side panel thing on the matchbox. So one of the things I put down was a question that has really, like, not to say perplexed me, but one that always dawns on me is whenever people ask you, if there is something you could change about yourself, what would it be? Because I don't know about you, but for me, it's like you know what you want to change. And by the way, I did say this year is time to like work on aspects that you can control, because yes, sometimes if we think about the stuff that we want to like change, some of it can be uncontrollable. So obviously I did put it in context of the stuff that I can actually control, because, you know, a lot of the times I know one of the people like me always gets told, be realistic. So I actually had to be realistic this time. Listen to the advice of people. So I put down that this is a question that has puzzled you for time, because you can select parts of your character to like upgrade and like work on, but you're yet to harness the mindset to work on it till this year, which I put in block letters, because, and then I went further to write, because you deserve to be better and happy in both mindset, health, spirit. And yes, anything is possible if you can do it. And then I also wrote down that the kid with the dream, but the dreams you can actually do them. And the fact that you survived COVID and this parallelogram which is a sign that our time is not up here and that the Lord has more in store for you, so let's claim it. So I put that down to me, and I felt that was important because you know how you have things that, oh, I wish I could change this, I wish I could change that, and I wish I could change that. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be grateful for like the parts that you do have in yourself. However, I put that down there because I've always felt like I always wanted this, like, you've always aspired to do stuff, but you've never really had like the right vim or the right energy. So this year has like given me like the space to do it. And it's just like, you know, like them ones where you've sat on the idea for such a long time. You know, you might as well just go forth and go for it and do it. And working on these small aspects will help you get better in like sections I've like always wanted to work on. And then obviously the little pick me up sections just full of like, again, oh, you guys, I keep forgetting you guys can't see. So for the pick me up section, I just put like quotes like, you know, you are loved, some Bible quotes like, you know, have patience, God isn't finished yet, don't worry about tomorrow, success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm, wake up and remember you're that bee. I don't know who said that, but hey, somebody must have said it. And you know, inhale confidence, so you know, all that good stuff. And obviously I put some words for the year because these to me in a nutshell is like summarizing or describing what I'm really like trying to do work on this year. So obviously I said this year is the year for big change. Now I can't lie, I even made a snap on like on when the fireworks are going on that this year, you know, is going to be the year of big change. So who knows what's going to happen this year. Persistence, because you know you got to stay persistent with what you're doing. See, it's even here. Consistency. And then metamorphosis. So to me I put that down, even though technically big change and metamorphosis is the same thing, but metamorphosis is like the process of taking a caterpillar into a butterfly. So I'm not trying to call myself a caterpillar right now, but it's just like taking the negative stuff or like the stage that you're in now, like, you know, you're building, you know, this is just remind me of, you know, the hungry caterpillar. You know, shout out to Majula, the hungry caterpillar that was eating all them leaves. But you know, it's just like you're building. Obviously it takes time, because you know, caterpillars don't just eat lettuce and then wake up as butterflies. Like, yes, they have to eat bare. Actually, what do caterpillars eat? I'll Google that. I'm sure they eat leaves somewhere. If not, then we've been lied to all our childhood. But you know, it's just like it's gonna be a large process. It will take time. But eventually, when we have the stage now, I guess, you know, once you get to like the cocoon bit, you know, you continue, you'll be like the bit where you plateau. So you're working on slowly, you know, building into the dissolving into. I'm not going to get into the science of a caterpillar, but, you know, in the cocoon stages when you like plateau, and then eventually the good parts or like the achievement of the goal itself would be, you know, the butterfly stage. And then I put crown and creativity. Crown is to like lift me up, to remind myself of who I am. So, you know, empowerment. Though the irony of the word crown right now is a bit, but anywho, kind of like to remind myself. And then creativities, because you know, that's I guess one of my specialities, you know, I'm creative. So yeah, now on to the next section. So this last section is kind of like a small discussion-y type bit, because I feel like whenever you like try to set out to do something, you always have like that feel of like, but what if it's too late to get started to work on it? Which brings me kind of like links to the title of this video. But it's just like, are we ever too late? No. Life has its own plans. And if life can do whatever it wants to do, like coronavirus came in its own accord. It's just like, it's never too late to start. Just like think about how many people, for example, people who got like their successes later down the line. Like I'll put a list of the names of the people on the screen. People that didn't get like their success at like the first day. I'm sure they must have felt like it's too late to do it. But look how they're basically enjoying what they started. Yes, it took them bare time, but it's better that they started than they didn't start at all. And it's just like, sometimes just looking around, it would feel like, you know, mini story time. It would be like, for example, you know, like how the story of David and Goliath, how everybody around you will be, you know, in big armor, you're up there like bling 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 bling. They might be in front of you like shiny armor, everything. Oh yeah, I have this, I'm definitely gonna do it. But people can be like staying with that stuff around you that can make you feel a bit discouraged, like, oh my gosh, I don't even have that, how can I start? But then if we remember closely, those people had everything, all the armor that they did, all they had on them. But were they not David that defeated Goliath with a slingshot and 3 stones. That just like goes to show you that yes, everybody can look like they have everything all together, and it can seem like they have everything together. You know, they have all the like flashy stuff and like, yes, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get this, but it doesn't end well for them. And it's just a case of like, if you just start off with the small things you have, you could defeat your giant. You can attack your goal and you can actually succeed. Because the other people who had all the flashy stuff were turned into G-nuts by Goliath. So, you know, like I said in the previous video, if you start small and start with what you have and obviously plan it, then, you know, you're en route to basically achieve what you want to by the end of the year. And also, to think of it like this way, sometimes there's another story I was reading. The way how I'll become insane, how I'm reading so many stories. Just like, oh yes, I love to read.
Yes, I love to read.
There's a story about like a guy who was watching an elephant gate, who looked at an elephant gate or an elephant camp, and he noticed that where the elephants were, they were all like, all they had to like entrap or like keep the elephants together was like a rope. And he was like, these animals are so big, but it's one small piece of rope that's basically trapped them into, like, you know, to keep them together as a pack. And he wondered why. Someone explained to him that because when they were younger, the rope was what, you know, used to like keep them. Because obviously they had remembered that, you know, since they were small, that rope is what stops them from going out. They then kept in their brain that, okay, rope equals stay put, rope equals don't go across it, even though they could potentially just step over it. So sometimes it's just a case of like outdated thinking or like previous thoughts or previous things that people have told you is what's stopping you from moving forward and what's stopping you from even thinking of planning for it. Because it's just like, well, maybe in our case the rope could be, maybe it's too late to start because, you know, we're in the third month of the year. Maybe the rope is, oh, I don't have everything I need to like achieve it. Those could be our ropes that's literally stopping us from starting, where all we need to do is simply put our foot. Oh, I just realized I'm raising my foot, you can't see. All we need to simply do is just write it down, put in writing, and actually start to walk forward and actually try to do it. Well guys, that brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. Please do comment below if the goals, mindset and motivation and this planning video has been any help, or want like any links to any other resources I like to use. Comment down below and I'll happily share them with you. This is not a sponsored post, although I don't think I've said anything sponsored, but no, this is not a sponsored post. This is just me waking up and deciding to say I'm not getting paid to do this, so I'm just doing it for the sake of, you know, to help you guys and to also help myself. Because like I said, I want it to be a case of like next year when I look back at the year and I want to look at, see like small things that I did to obviously, number one, improve myself. You know, we're on project rebrand, I guess, so CK 2.0, but then also to like give all of us the little push that we need for the year. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. Also, don't forget to like and comment under the video. You know, share your views. I like reading the comments. I like hearing what you guys have to say. Also, don't forget to follow me on my other platforms. Follow me on Instagram at ck.so.bueno. Follow me on Twitter at itsChrissy_K. Also, before I forget, please do turn on the notification bell below. I don't know where it's going to be, but it's going to be somewhere. But do click on the notification bell and keep it on so you know when I post more videos, because I'm going to be having more content soon and fortnightly, as I have promised basically in this video. Once again, guys, it's been your guys Chrissy K. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a nice day. Unless you're watching this at night time, then, you know, I hope you have a nice night. Stay blessed and bye.
Know that I'm gonna be on my own. Yeah, every night I sit alone. The ones who come to us begging for our bliss. I want to move on with life after this. Yeah, what did I do? You made me insane. Can't forget you. So many of my breath.